First of all, thank you for coming out to our third town hall meeting. The purpose of which is to get feedback from the residents of those respective areas that we come to in terms of what their thoughts, concerns, and the issues, both of the neighborhood in particular and of the city in general.
What are your plans for the people of the city of Akron?
Well, the first thing we're going to do is repair relationships. I think you know right now the mayor has been at war with the police department. And the police department has been without leadership now for 3 years. They've had interim people, and you know, if you get an interim person, that says a lot to you right there. They're not the ones that are going to be there. They're not the ones that are going to make the decisions. They're not the ones that are really going to set policy. So we have a police department that has been without key leadership for a significant period of time. During that same period of time, the mayor has failed to promote individuals to the deputy chief slots. So we essentially have no upper management in the city of Akron right now. There are no majors, there's no deputy chiefs, there's captains. If the mayor is not happy with the police department, well, whose fault is that? He's been the mayor for 24 years. This is his police department. And so if it doesn't meet expectations, if it doesn't have strong leadership, he's the one that's at fault for that. So we have to repair that and get the officers back focused on our problems and concerns rather than looking over their shoulder every 5 minutes for a layoff notice or hearing threats from the chief executive of the city that they're going to lose their job every time something happens in Columbus or somewhere else. The second thing that has to change is repair a relationship between the citizens of Akron and city government. We're in a dictatorial situation right now. That's not how city government is supposed to respond. City government is the closest government to you. It's where you're supposed to be able to reach out, touch that government, influence that government, criticize that government if you wish to. That's your right as a citizen. That's key to being an American, is that you can criticize your government, challenge your government, and that's why you're out here today, to interact with that government. So we're going to repair that relationship. There's a trust deficit right now. Nobody trusts the numbers that the city has put out about the revenues or the budget. We're going to restructure that entire department. You are going to have the ability to know exactly what's going on financially with the city. You will have quarterly reports where that information will be there for you in a format where you can understand it. And then we'll be out there talking so you can ask those tough questions about that. Because your first question is going to be, what are you doing with the revenues that you receive? That's the first question that a citizen asks. And we're going to be able to answer that question for you. And I want you to feel comfortable with that and that information. So we're going to change that. And we're going to reestablish a trust relationship between the city government, in particular the mayor's office, and the citizens of Akron, where we both give each other the benefit of the doubt as we're going through this process and revitalizing our city. The number one thing you have to do is work with the businesses that you have and help them expand and help keep them here in our region, because we live in an environment now where there's extreme competition for the jobs. And I'm not talking about, we already know what's going on in terms of jobs being shipped overseas and everything. I'm talking about within the United States. We have southern states that are coming up here talking to our companies, basically offering them land, building, no taxes for the next 20 years, whatever it is to attract those jobs. But we have to have a greater emphasis on our local companies and helping them grow. That's where your jobs get generated. That's where the majority of jobs come from. In any city that is in a growth mode right now, that's where their jobs are being generated. So we need to spend more of our time and resources helping our local companies expand their jobs.
I go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning for my job, and I live 1 block from the high school. I live in Middle Street. The high school right in my backyard. And every morning when I come down to the boulevard and head for the interstate, there are 8 to 10 children, high school children, or young people going this direction instead of that direction, and they're coming back down the hill from the high school. How do we keep these children off the street during the day when they should be in school?
Now there are some kids that are motivated, that are going to take advantage of everything that's put in front of them. Then you have some kids, it doesn't matter what you do, they're going to make the decision not to, even if all those resources and things are placed in front of them, they're not going to do it. But then there's all these kids in the middle that need some motivation, and if they get that, they will be successful and take advantage of some of those things. So we have to kind of change our dynamic and how we are interacting with our young people. I grew up in a neighborhood where I felt a part of the community. And the reason why I felt a part is because if I was 5 blocks away from home, I got doing something or into something, I got home, and my parents knew. Somebody called and said Mike was down on such and such doing something he had no business doing. And I'm like, man, how do they know that? Because I looked. I scouted it out. But I was a part of something bigger. We should be creating an environment and a structure where other organizations and things can plug in to do things for these young people, be mentors, be surrogate parents, because I'm gonna tell you, if you try to deal with some of these parents, you know exactly why the kids are acting like they act, because the parents are exactly like that. But you have the opportunity with each child to form a different kind of relationship. And most of these kids are dying for a positive relationship with an adult. Real quick story. Had a lady who complained to me about some kids were shaking a stop sign out in front of her house. This was several years back. And she said she yelled at the kids and the kids cussed her out. Okay, and I asked her, I said, okay, have you ever had any interaction with these kids? Have you ever talked to them? She said, no. So the first interaction they had with you was you coming out of your house and yelling at them. She thought about it. She said, yes. I said, okay, let's reverse roles. Now, I'm not going to say that you would cuss them out, but what would you be thinking at that point in time? This crazy old lady coming out here yelling at me, I'm not, you know. Now, we were raised, you never challenged an adult. You said, yes ma'am, no ma'am. And you went around the corner. You talked about them when you got around that corner. Okay? But that's the difference. But what I told her was, you could expect that kind of reaction because you may not have acted upon that, but you sure would have been thinking about something like that. So you have to change the dynamic and have a relationship. Once you have a relationship, then you can talk to kids about some of these issues and things that are going on. That's what we have to do, and we have to do that better. Because kids need us. They need us. And this is our greatest, probably our greatest tragedy that is going on in this country. Because you can see kids, you know exactly where they're headed. They're headed to prison unless we do something to intervene and give them some other alternatives. I find most kids, if they're given other alternatives, they will choose the better alternatives.
Mr. Williams, what would your administration's policy be on acquiring goods and services the city would get from businesses based in Akron, Summit County, Northeast Ohio?
You know, if the city government is supporting your business, you're hiring. You're turning, those tax dollars are being returned here to our community. That's extremely important. And if you don't do that, then it doesn't make a lot of sense. Other communities are doing exactly that. and are aggressively pursue and have legislation that does those kinds of things, we will be doing some of those very same things, because we want to know, and we'll be encouraging you to shop and buy and do things here in our local community so that you create your own jobs.
Why isn't the city doing more to make those houses that are vacant available for people to know that they're vacant, or they for sale, or they in possession? We've got 2 or 3 on our street, and there's no signs, no nothing.
Once people find out the city's trying to acquire a property, it's an amazing thing that happens. It was advertised for $12,000, all of a sudden it's $50,000 for the house when the city's trying to acquire it. So Cleveland has formed a nonprofit that actually goes out and competes to buy these homes, and they can move quicker than the city. We have all of our restrictions that are on city money. We have to go through all these changes in order to expend your tax dollars to purchase those homes. So this nonprofit can move very quickly and purchase those homes, and then either rehab them, get them into somebody else's hands, or demo them if they've been damaged to the point where it doesn't make economic sense to do that. We need to do the same kind of thing here and kind of change that. John?
If you recall, the city kind of did that about 6-7 years ago, but they had a private individual doing that, and there was all kinds of problems. The people that sold their homes to that individual at a relatively low price, and then when they found out that he was actually getting paid more for the house from the city, he was really upset. So it has to be done and done right.
It has to be done, and you have to have that in the hands of a nonprofit, somebody who is not incented to make money out of the deal.
Our street was paved. We were charged $399. The street has got chuck holes in it. It's got cracks in it. It was not paved. It was just melt and resurfaced. Your state's going to stand there and tell me that you're going to do something about that when you're mayor?
Absolutely.
What's more like you, the Kenmore, whatever the hell you want to call him. And he doesn't do a damn thing about Kenmore. I don't know who he cares about, but he don't care about us.
Well, let me tell you, that street that was just redone, that you're paying assessments on, there's an expectation that that street lasts for at least 5 years. That's the expectation. And if it's not, then we should be fixing it. Now, they tried this new system this summer. You must have had, there was a big machine, it heats it up and puts it right back down. Okay. We're gonna get that taken care of, all right? Because, yes.
Now, this ain't, you're not just coming out with a bucket and throwing piles.
No, we're gonna get that redone, okay? Because that was an experimental process, and the people that were working that truck, it was new to them working. So they redid some last year that they went back and redid them right away. So we'll get that, make sure I get that straight, and we'll put that on the list to get done.
Follow up that question too. Are we also going to look into having local companies do the work? Because I think that's a problem. If you've got their local contractors, asphalt companies here in Akron, local guys will do a good job because they know their name's out there and it's a product. If you've got a company from Cleveland or Youngstown or Toledo coming down there, they're going to go do the work and then they'll disappear and that's it. So, I think that we should, hopefully look into having local companies do the work.
Thank you all so very, very much for taking out of your time today to come and talk with me. I need your support. I need your help. We can change how we're functioning here, but we have to do that together. I love Akron, and I love all of you all, and I ask for the opportunity to move our city forward. Thank you all so very much. God bless you.